Good afternoon and welcome to today's Kognito Product Overview webinar. We're really excited to discuss our current suite of products as well as share some of the new products which will be released a little bit later this year.
So let's get started. Today I'm joined by two of my esteemed colleagues, Kim Wieland and Jennifer Spiegler. Jennifer is the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships, and she's been part of the Kognito team since 2010. She has a background spanning education, business, and not-for-profit sectors such as instructional design, strategic communications, fundraising, as well as arts administration. Here at Kognito, Jennifer leads engagements with state-level government agencies, statewide nonprofits, as well as school districts. Kim Wieland is our head of product for the education vertical, and previously she served in a senior role on our client experience team. Kim's career includes roles that span education, business, as well as nonprofits, with a focus on helping communities build capacity to address the challenges and opportunity at the local level. Welcome, Kim. Welcome, Jennifer. Pleasure to have you here today. I'm going to turn the presentation over to both of you right now. Oh, Jennifer, please go ahead.
Sorry. Thank you, Jen, and thanks to everybody who is joining today. We know that your time is precious, and we are very, very happy to have you join us today for this presentation. For those of you who don't know Kognito, we are a digital learning company that believes in the power of conversation to change lives. Our virtual role-play platform brings to bear the science of learning, evidence-based communications techniques, and the many benefits of virtual humans to measurably improve students' social, emotional, and physical health. And we're going to tell you more about that today. Next slide, please. Over 1 million educators and students have used our virtual role-play platform to learn new skills and gain confidence, to take effective actions that enhance connectedness and belonging. And the vast majority appreciate what a unique, engaging, and useful learning experience Kognito programs provide. So, what is a virtual role play? We know that practice or behavioral rehearsal is what is essential to changing behavior. So, to change our way of interacting, we might engage in a role play. If you imagine your last role play experience, was it a good one? Most people answer no to that question. In our platform, because it's virtual, it's not only safe to role play, it's actually really fun. And like a role play game, we ask learners to take on the role of a parent, an educator, or a peer. You can see images at the bottom of your screen that show those kinds of interactions. And we give them an opportunity to practice navigating realistic scenarios, choosing how to bring up their concerns, ask open-ended questions, essentially learning to apply and practice evidence-based communication skills with the goal of building trust, building relationships, learning to manage emotions, and creating the conditions for a warm handoff to support if that's needed. So why do districts trust Kognito? Next slide. You know, designing learning experiences for educational institutions means your approach to learning has to stand up to the highest scrutiny. Here are just a few of the reasons that districts trust our work. First, as I mentioned, they're practice-based, they're dynamic, so conversation scenarios adapt to meet learners where they are. Every learner has an individualized experience and gets individual feedback, even though the content is standardized. Excuse me. That means there's fidelity to an evidence-based model built right into the system. These tools are research proven. There's a growing body of peer-reviewed research showing that Kognito simulations result in statistically significant changes in knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behavior. The impact we have is measurable. Yes, your data, your measurement. Our administrative tools make it easy to track completion, especially important if there's a need for compliance, but also to see and use the survey results to evaluate and report on the impact of this program. Simulations are brief and scalable. We can do in 30 to 60 minutes what many face-to-face training programs or workshops would do in a full day. That's really important. We know that time is the most important commodity in education right now. It's never been more apparent than in these times. So we want to make sure that we provide a skills-based experience and that people can leave the learning experience with real skills that they can apply right away. These programs were developed by experts. We're experts in instructional design and the delivery of this system, but we engage with subject matter experts, prevention and wellness professionals, our sample end users, to make sure this content is up to date, up to the minute, and we're able to bring that expertise to millions. So as you can see on the bottom there, those are just a few of our district partners, state partners as well as districts. And, oops, I'm in the dark. What we haven't talked about is our team of implementation experts from our client success team that actually help our partners with when and how to integrate these tools very flexibly into the work that you're already doing in your district. So what I'd like to do now is hand off to my colleague Kim to talk about the newly expanded library available to districts and to help them realize their goals with relation to whole child, whole school, whole community approaches. Kim, take it away.
Thank you
and
so much.
Unmute yourself.
And I'm so excited to be on today to talk a little bit about really what we've been doing over the last 2 years, which is in working with our school districts and really understanding the approach that you guys are taking to some of these core topics. We've really looked to expand our portfolio to really be inclusive of all of the different communities who are part of that larger community of support. So as we're thinking about mental, social, emotional well-being, as we're thinking about what it means to do upstream violence prevention, what it means to create those safe and supportive school cultures, really building an inclusive culture. As you guys have been thinking about it, you know that the student is important. There need to be programs to embed those skills and really engage with students and empower them. There's also what we've been doing for a long time, which is our professional development programs and really improving those types of conversations, those trusted relationships and those skills there. And then we've also begun to think about this as what does that mean to also include the larger community and parents in that as well. If you go to the next slide, what we've done is we now have programs that really go on either side of our professional development, which is our traditional programs that we have created. And we've begun to build curriculum really aimed towards middle and high school students around both these core topics that we have been covering, as well as the core SEL skills. And then we've begun to develop community programs as well that also has the ability to practice these communication skills. It creates a shared language across all three of these audiences and is really meant to build together towards a holistic approach to these things within the school community. If you go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about some of the programs that we are adding to our growing educator and staff bundle. We really determine what we're going to create next based on what we hear from the districts that we work with. What are not only the topics that you guys are interested, but also what are the types of conversations and the practice scenarios that you really want to see us create. So I'm really excited about the two that we have coming this year, and those are our child abuse, neglect, and trafficking program, really where we see the Kognito program coming in and having an impact as opposed to just some of the other trainings out there around this topic, is that we will have two specific practice scenarios in this, really making sure that we cover different age bands as well, both elementary, middle, and then we'll have one for high school as well. And really the goal here is, what does a trauma-informed conversation look like, sound like with a student? Same identify, approach, and refer here, but a little bit more of what does that trauma-informed conversation look like, those skills. As many of the teachers and the social workers that we work with say, you know, it looks very different for a teacher to have that conversation than a social worker, right? It's not their job to sort of dig for information. It's their job to notice, let that student know that they have been heard, and then be able to pass that off. So we're very excited about those. We're actually building them now. I was on a call earlier today with some of our amazing SMEs talking about what those conversations will look like. And then we're also adding a program around resiliency and growth mindset. This specifically came from a lot of conversations that we have had. And one of the things that we have heard is, we really want more conversations with parents, and we want to have those conversations with parents model some of this much more upstream type of conversations, where we're really setting that communication, that positive baseline. So what this program is going to do, I'm very excited about it. In the first half, we're really going to be focusing in on some of this language around, what does resiliency mean? What does growth mindset mean? Really focusing in on some of that common language that teachers, educators, and others can use. We're going to be building a program for students around the same topic, and we have one for parents as well. And it will talk about things like, what are some of the in-classroom strategies that you can use to help students do things like understand what failure means, understand the importance of that to their ability to thrive, understand what goal setting is. A lot of teachers know these things, so again, it's just a bit of recentering that and then coming directly into these conversations with parents. So we're going to be modeling two conversations again across grade bands, as we do with all of our programs. And these were ones we specifically heard over and over again, both from teachers and administrators and others. So one of those conversations will specifically be with a parent whose student is not doing well in class. And it's really going to be focused on this idea of, what does it mean to set these positive goal settings with parents as a partnership around specific to that child. And then the other conversation will be the flip side of that. So you have a student who has typically done very, very well in school, received a bad grade, is not dealing well, coping well with that bad grade. And what does it mean to have that conversation with the parent, again, to talk through what does a positive action plan mean, normalizing the idea that failure is an important part of growth, and some of those coping skills and communication. So very excited about these. We've launched production of that one as well. One of the things I love is that I get to work with amazing team to do this, including the SMEs that Jennifer talked about earlier. And I've been using one of the phrases that one of our SMEs said, just to kind of center some of this program with the team. And it was, we really want to make sure that people are not being gatekeepers for students, not determining what they believe a student can achieve and sort of setting those roadblocks around them, kind of setting that path for them. As we really want to be focused on what are the types of conversations, the partnerships, the questions we can be asking around what does that student want to achieve? How do we encourage that student to think about their goals, think about the things that make them excited, that will be for them what it means to thrive and flourish, and then help them set goals towards that, partner with families and the community around that. So very excited about those. Happy to answer any questions that people might have about those. They will be coming out later this year. Next slide. So the parent and community bundle, as I said, these programs are all out now and available. They all just launched. So as I said, we have programs around emotional and mental wellness that covers things like resiliency. We have ones around substance use and conversations that parents are having around those types of topics, really normalizing the idea that it's not a one-time conversation. It's about creating these environments of trust, knowing that students can come to them. Safe and Caring Schools, which is one that we have around this idea of upstream violence prevention. If you notice something, changes, how do you have those conversations? And for parents, it's really, how do you create those moments for your students to share with you? And do you know what resources are available if you do need to report something? We do have Spanish versions of these coming this year, so we're very excited about that. And then next slide. And then our student and curriculum bundle. This one, as you guys know, we've had friend-to-friend emotional and mental wellness, which is our flagship program, for quite a while now. In the last year, we've added 2 more modules to that, our one around substance use, and then our one around upstream violence prevention, our Safe and Caring Schools. And we have 2 more coming, which I'm so excited about. We're going to continue to add. We're going to add one around resiliency and growth mindset that will mirror some of what we are doing in the PD piece, but it will also really focus on a lot of that coping and resiliency skills that students need. Focus in on what are some of the types of conversations we have with ourselves. Can we reframe negative thoughts into positive thoughts and really build up some of those skills and some of that skill set to build positive self-confidence, to be able to meet failure, to build up some of those social, emotional, and coping skills. And then our bullying prevention will add on to what we started with our Safe and Caring Schools product and really build out more of the topics around that upstream violence prevention. So I want to talk a little bit about not only just as they are within their bundles, but also how we're starting to package these in a way that makes the implementation easy across the 3 audiences, but around the topic. So I'll just give you a little bit of background on this, and then I'd love to have Jennifer talk a little bit about why it makes a lot of sense for these across these audiences. The first one we're doing, and this already exists, is to package these around mental health and well-being. We know a lot of districts are looking to roll out these programs quickly. Many of you already may have rolled out some of these, but packaging them together in a way that makes sense and rolls out at the same time across all these 3 audiences. So we've packaged them together with our new emotional and mental wellness program and our trauma-informed practices. It's a little over an hour of PD content, has 5 practice scenarios across those 2 programs, and really covers suicide prevention, covers the upstream types of things around SEL and coping skills that you can be doing in the classroom. It's going to cover the identify, approach, and refer, and the communication skills that we do, as well as really centering the idea of trauma-informed practices. A lot of students are bringing a lot with them into the classroom. What does that look like? We've actually included some de-escalation strategies using reflections in our new emotional and mental wellness program. So Those go really well together. In our curriculum, we're pairing together the emotional and mental wellness one along with substance use, and those go really well together. They normalize the types of conversations that peers are having with each other and begins to talk about things like goal setting, responsible decision making, refusal skills, help seeking, some of these core skills and social emotional skills that students can really use in these times and as they move on. And then we're pairing that with the same type of thing for the parent and community. And being able to roll this out together is very powerful. So Jennifer, I want to just pause and give you a chance to kind of talk a little bit about this approach and how districts are thinking about it.
Great. Thank you so much, Kim. And this is so exciting. And it's been, as we've touched on this in the marketplace, really, really welcome. I think in this moment, as we are kind of coming back to something kind of normal in our lives, districts are really embracing the whole child, whole school, whole community approach. Everyone has a role, and we really find that it's very welcome to be able to provide this approach across all of these important audiences. And we have always tried to emphasize the need in a school building that you want to make sure adults are trustworthy and well-informed and well-prepared before providing training or curriculum to students, where you're asking them to trust the adults in their building. This opens out even more to the whole community so that everyone is really on the same page and able to interoperate and support one another, really to refine the safety net for students in all of the arenas that they find themselves. So it's not only students learning these skills, but adults, both at home and at school, modeling these behaviors for the students to see.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And we also have one more suite that we are building out. So this is one that I'm very excited about because we built this really thinking through this idea of upstream violence prevention. We worked with Fairfax County and some amazing SMEs on this, and we've paired together programs around bullying, which really dives into some of those moments of interrupting bullying as it might be happening in the classroom, the idea of community agreements. And we've compared that with our Safe and Caring Schools suite of programs, which were really developed to help overcome some of the barriers to reporting, whether it's at the professional development level. So in that one, the conversation is actually the flip side of a student, of you approaching a student, identifying and then approach. In Safe and Caring Schools, it's actually a student comes to you about a friend they're concerned about. That's a very different conversation. How do you let that student know, hey, that was the right thing to do? How do you help them, give you the details? How do you let them know what you will be doing next? Because that's hard for students to do. And we know that from talking to students. And so then we have the program in our friend-to-friend ones where, again, it's really what are those types of conversations students want to support their friends? How do they do that? How do they be an upstander? How do they be a bystander who can intervene? And then in the Safe and Caring Schools one, it is going to model a difficult conversation that they have with themselves, which is, my friend said something that is concerning, that may insinuate that they are thinking about violence. Do I go have that conversation with an adult? And we actually talked to a lot of students. What were those barriers? What are the things that they thought about? And we walked through that in that program with them. And then as well, the parent and community piece. Parents know a lot of things. The community knows a lot of things. So how do we make them feel like they're part of the community? They know how to have these conversations with their students if they see something, and bring that back. So this one, we are finishing up a new program around bullying prevention for our Friend to Friend suite, and that will be available later this year. And as Jennifer said, we always want to come back to the idea that it's important. This is really based on outcomes and impact. So if you go to the next slide, we'll just wrap it up, and I'll turn it back over to Jennifer.
So, you know, we get up every morning and we're just grateful that we have so many wonderful partners and that we're able to bring them these wonderful tools. You know, scale is important to us, and we know that we can rapidly and confidently change what's happening in a school community, in a district, even a large district like Fairfax County, 10th largest school district in the country. Training their educators, they saw a 30 to 40% increase in the number of students that educators talk to and refer to mental health services. These are big and powerful numbers.
Thank you both. That was wonderful. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Jennifer. We are at time, but I think we had a couple of questions. So if anyone has time and they want to stick around, we're just going to address two quick questions. We had one member ask, does it focus on school connectedness? So I don't know, Jennifer or Kim, if you want to field that question.
Yeah, I can start. That is the core of everything we do. So these communication skills are really meant to help build up the trust and the relationship that is at the school. We focus in on how do we improve questions around, do you have somebody that you can turn to? Do you have somebody who is there to support you? So really those ideas of belonging and connectedness that we know around all of these topics, students are more likely to come talk to somebody if they feel that they have that level of trust. So that's really at the core of everything that we're doing here.
And then a follow-up to that, Kim, would be, are these products evidence-based?
Yes, as Jennifer mentioned at the beginning, that is core, again, to everything we do. We have pre, post, and follow-up in every program that we do, and we're really focusing on those behavior change, not just knowledge. So are we improving the learners, really their confidence and their likelihood to use these skills? And then we actually have questions in the follow-up about the amount of times that they use them and connected students to support. So, and then we also have similar but slightly different metrics for our student programs and our parent programs. But yes, these are evidence-based. Our research is there and available if anybody's interested in it. And then on top of that, we use evidence-based communication strategies and evidence-based prevention strategies in every single one of our programs. So I'd love to talk about our evidence base. If anybody has any questions, please, we would love to field those. You can send us an email at any time.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Kim and Jennifer. I think that wraps up today's session. And as we mentioned, we do invite you to trial these products. You will be able to receive access to these via the post-event email. So you'll get links with all of these products. And then if you would like to set up a personalized one-on-one demo, we just ask that you fill out a contact form, just give us some basic information. And we also invite you to follow us on social media so that you can find out a little bit more behind the scenes about Kognito, new products, new initiatives, etc. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you at another one of our webinar or live events soon. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
So much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.